I just had a baby, and I already want to leave my husband. He's not stepping up as a partner or a father, and being a single mom sounds easier than this emotional hell. Posted by you/popcorn shrimp 111. I'll probably delete this in the morning, but I need to scream into the void. I, 28F, have been married for under a year but have been with my husband, 30M, for 6. We have a 3-month-old little girl who's fantastic. I'm a first-time mom who's a stay-at-home mom. My husband works from home. My husband's not dumb, just emotionally inept sometimes. I've had a lot of resentment building since I was pregnant. His mom tormented me throughout my pregnancy by talking about miscarriages, stillbirths, and saying dead baby to me every time my husband wasn't around. She denied it, he sympathized with me, but nothing was truly ever done. Since I gave birth, my husband's just been clueless. When I was there recovering, he would go home and sleep and leave me all alone because the couch was uncomfortable. I had to call him 20 times to get him to wake up and come back to the hospital because I was lonely. Then when we left, he was asking me to carry things to the car with him. The nurse had to tell him I shouldn't be carrying anything, I'd just given birth. When we got home, he complained about his lack of sleep. I was struggling to learn how to nurse. He was my cheerleader through nursing, I have to give him credit there. As the first 2 months went by, I was consistently bawling about how sleep-deprived I was, while he was getting 8 to 10 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. It caused a lot of fights because I couldn't hear him tell me he was exhausted without having a meltdown. Then his mom would come over and they'd leave a huge mess for me to clean on more than one occasion. He complained about the basement being messy, so I helped him lift things and clean it up. It caused me to start bleeding heavily, and my doctor told me I shouldn't be lifting anything heavy. This is a point of contention because my husband continuously asked me to help him lift heavy things and I couldn't, so he'd get annoyed. Then he'd complain about it all day. Now we're at month 3 and I think my marriage is over. We've been distant ever since the baby arrived and I haven't wanted to have sex or be affectionate. My husband has been asking if I'm alright a lot, and I say I'm fine. I don't know what else to say. But I feel miserable and tense up every time he walks into the same room as me. Today he was on my case about walking our dog. I'm so exhausted from exclusively breastfeeding and I don't have the energy to walk her. I had been up since 2:30 a.m. with my baby and just couldn't handle anything else on my plate. So he whined and beached about doing it but promised me I could nap. I snapped and reminded him that I haven't slept a full 8 hours in months. He got pissy and stormed off. He avoided me the entire day and locked himself in his office. I spent the rest of the day randomly breaking down in full-blown sobs because I was so tired. 11 p.m. hits and he hasn't come out of his office, so I finally break and go get him. He gives me the cold shoulder and I just break down. All the lack of support just broke me. I told him I hated him, I wished I could go home, and I even mentioned divorce. He calmed me down and apologized for being selfish. When I asked what he did all day, he said he napped. He napped the whole day. While I was struggling to keep myself standing, he was napping. I broke down. I cried and cried. He was apologetic and showering me in sorries and I love yous. For the first time ever, I couldn't tell him I loved him too. Now it's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep because I'm so distraught. He's snoring next to me and I just hate him right now. I want to take my baby and run away. I don't want to live here anymore. Being a single mom seems easier than dealing with all this emotional stress and neglect. What am I supposed to do? I just can't believe I'm ready to leave him all because he took a nap. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. This part about him complaining that the basement was messy and telling you to lift heavy things, then complaining even more, is disgusting. Nobody who cares about you would ask that of you, let alone get mad when you can't do it. Honestly, I think even people who dislike me, and who I dislike in return, wouldn't ask me to move something heavy if I were pregnant or recovering. Commenter 2. Wow, I'm so sorry. But it wasn't just a nap that ruined your marriage, it was him, by being a terrible father and husband. I honestly think you'd be better off divorced from him. He needs to learn how to stand on his own 2 feet and take care of the child he helped create. Was he always like this, or was it a bait and switch? Ops response. No, he's always been responsible and dependable. Picture perfect man to settle down and have a baby with. I don't know what happened, but I got pregnant and he changed into someone I don't recognize. Downvoted commenter. It sounds to me like maybe he's struggling to adjust to parenthood. A lot of guys have a hard time with the added pressure and responsibility of being a father, especially when the mother, rightfully, receives most of the support. Fathers can sometimes feel pushed to the background and may begin to shut down or close off emotionally. I'm not excusing his behavior or the way it's made you feel. But has anyone asked him if he's okay? He doesn't have a father figure to look up to, And it sounds like he really respects your dad, so maybe he's lacking a strong male support network. If that's the case, it's not necessarily his fault. That said, he does need to recognize that the way he's handled things so far hasn't been good enough. Ops response. He completely shut down when his paternity leave ended. It felt like living with a ghost sometimes. He was physically present but not there emotionally. I was, and still am, struggling to keep myself together, so I haven't had any support to give him. I know this transition has been hard on him, but it's been hard on me too. I've wanted to lean on him, but most of the time he's stressed about something else that needs to be done and asking me to help with it. That's why his mom would come over. She was helping him with his day-to-day tasks, but she made my life harder in the process. A lot of this stems from our poor communication over the past 3 months, and I think we both resent each other for it. Commenter 4. Except the problems started earlier, when he failed to protect you from his mom during your pregnancy. How on earth did he justify continuing to see her? I'm not known for having the strongest backbone, but there's no way I would have put my partner through that while she was pregnant, or ever, really. I mean, what the hell? Op adds an edit to her post. So we talked. Well, I talked, he listened. I told him I couldn't do this anymore and that something needed to change immediately or I was going to go back home and take my baby with me. He stared at me, confused, but then he realized I had 2 bags packed by my dresser and was ready to leave. I finally was able to articulate all the resentment that had been building, his mom's cruel and careless behavior, feeling abandoned at the hospital and now at home, how it feels like everything falls on me so he can bring a paycheck home. I realized after saying all this that I hadn't really told him how I was feeling but had just continued to bottle it up. He was defensive at first, and I gave him one warning: if this conversation was filled with excuses, I was walking out. So he stopped and truly listened. He was genuinely remorseful. He only said sorry once at the end, and he meant it. Then he started asking me what I needed him to do. We made a plan, and I finally feel like I can breathe a little easier. He has dog walks handled indefinitely. My mother-in-law is banned from the house and is to have no contact with me or my baby. Once my husband is off work, I'm off duty for the day. I'll still breastfeed because I want to do that. I get a lot of fulfillment out of it, and if you saw the way my baby gently pats my chest when she nurses, you would too. Her big hazel eyes are completely mesmerizing. I'm typing this while soaking in a warm bath. I've been promised the weekend to decompress and sleep to my heart's content. I'll pump instead of nurse this weekend, and we have a stash of frozen milk he's planning on using. He knows what needs to be done, her routine, how much to feed her, so I know he's capable. I can actually hear him unloading the dishwasher right now. We are planning on doing something as a couple one day out of each weekend so I don't feel like just a mom. I can be a person too. We are going to go to couples counseling, and I'm going to start individual therapy. He's already in therapy. He didn't have a dad who showed him what love looked like. He had an adult toddler as a father who threw tantrums and verbally abused him and his mother. My husband often comments on how my dad drops everything in a nanosecond for me and how he wants to be like that. But he's not. He's failing me and his daughter. That was really tough for him to hear. So, now we take it day by day. If he's actually capable of change, I'll have to wait and see. My bags are still packed and by the door. I guess I have them there as a reminder to myself that leaving is an option at any moment I please. That makes me feel a little better. I'm hopeful but not delusional. I know we might not be able to come back from this, and that's okay. I have to take care of myself so my little girl has a mama who smiles at things besides her. I have an appointment scheduled for a postpartum depression screening, and my mom's planning on visiting at the start of next month. My family is ready with their door wide open whenever I choose to come home. It made me cry to hear my dad tell me he'll be on the first flight when I'm ready so I don't have to fly home alone. Thank you all for letting me spill my guts. Update 2 months later. I have been wanting to update but have been scared. I felt so overwhelmed and haven't been sure what to write. That post I wrote was me at my lowest. I wish I could take the version of me in that moment and just hug her. I was broken down, and I needed anyone to be real with me. Those comments felt like a slap in the face and way too much to handle all at once. So I needed time to read through and digest it all. Thank you, everyone. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety shortly after I made my post. To the people who pushed me to talk to my doctor, thank you. My life has improved tenfold after getting proper treatment. I feel like in normal updates people dive into their lives and the details of what's happened. I don't want to do that. I want to say something that's more important than me in my life. To the new moms and their loved ones, if you or anyone you know has just had a baby, check in on them. If you've just had a baby, make sure you have someone who's tuned into you. Although you have brought new life into the world and it should be joyous, you are allowed to feel whatever you feel. Please, even if you feel fine, prioritize your mental health and well-being, because your baby depends on you to be healthy so they can be healthy. What you are going through is valid and important, and you need someone to look out for you. While you look out for your baby, someone needs to look out for you with the same love and care. As for me, my life has turned around. Taking care of myself was what I needed. I know people told me to leave my husband and how horrible he is. And like every other excuse post, you don't understand because you're not living it. I'm happy, safe, and healthy, but most importantly, my daughter is thriving. It took a lot of work, and it will continue to take a lot more. I love my husband, and he has shown through time that he can be reliable and hasn't faltered. I really thought he would fail and was expecting it most days. But he hasn't, he actually turned it around, and that feels better than winning the lottery. I guess people can change when they really want to. Can't they? I could go on, but things are better. My daughter's happy and healthy. She's feisty like me, and nothing's gonna stop her. She loves her daddy as much as I do, sometimes more, and now with a clear head, I can see that things are okay because we have, and continue to, learn how to communicate with one another. If I could pass anything on, check on your loved ones. Sometimes they don't even know how hard they're struggling until you pull the wool from over their eyes. Thank you to everyone. Posting was the push I needed to get help. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Did he ever apologize for making you move heavy things that caused you to start bleeding? Ops response. Yes, he has. He continues to and has acknowledged how his selfishness came at my expense during the most vulnerable time in my life. It's a shame that follows him, and he randomly asks if I really do forgive him. It's uncomfortable to see how awful he feels about what happened, because all I want to say is, it's okay. But we both know it's not, and never will be. So it's icky knowing he's going to live with that, but I also know it's for the best. Commenter 2. I'm glad he realized it and is taking accountability for it. I'm curious, though, has he ever explained what was going through his head during those moments? Ops response. He has. It's nothing special, pretty lackluster explanations. Typical because I haven't felt it, it must mean it's not that bad. Infuriating nonsense, and willful ignorance. Commenter 3. I feel depressed reading the update. I'm genuinely glad she got help for postpartum depression, but his behavior toward her was so repulsive.